How's it going, Top Forest TV? My name is Jack, and welcome back to my review of the Middlesbrough game that's just taken place at the City Ground. So yeah, not good enough from Forest, not good enough at all. It's really strange coming off the back of such a fantastic performance against Millwall to that. I mean, it looked like Forest of old Forest at the start of the season where we was playing against teams like Brentford, was playing against teams like I can't think off the top of my head, to be honest with you. Bristol City, Cardiff. You know, so poor. I mean, you look at the last 7 games and we had fight. We had the ability to dominate the ball, to create chances. In this game, nothing. I mean, it was very sloppy at the back, giving away cheap fouls left, right and centre. I mean, okay, the referee wasn't the greatest, and some of the things that he gave free kicks for were ridiculous. Like, you look at there was one, it was in our penalty box, in their penalty box, sorry. The ball was trickling out for a throw, and one of their players was trying to stop it from Cafu from getting it, and he just tripped over. He just lost his foot and tripped over and got a free kick. It was Amiobi, not Cafu, got a free kick. So yeah, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. I mean, we were poor at the back. Worrell, I mean, I love the guy. He's my favourite player at the club at the minute, but fingers have got to be pointed at him for the way that he defended their first goal. You know, he was expecting the flag to be up, allowed Sommalonga to put the ball in the back of the net, and, you know, fair play to Sommalonga. He had a really good game today. He was a bully for our back two, and, you know, I think Worrell was inexperienced there. I mean, I don't think it was inexperienced, but that's something that an inexperienced defender would do, to step back, expect the offside flag to be put up when he wasn't even offside. You know, Christie was playing him on from what they were saying. So, yeah, very poor in terms of that. And then it was Worrell again. I guess you could point the blame up for the second goal. Christie was definitely at blame because he was just so far out of position that I think it was Saville had acres of room to run into. And, I mean, fair play to Worrell, I guess. Pardon me. He tried to slide in and block the pass from going through, but got nowhere near it, which allowed Saville even more of space to run into. But yeah, we scored then, so, you know, really happy for him to get his first goal for the club. I think he's probably he's probably deserved it. I think when he's played, he's been okay. Played out of position today, looked alright. When he's been in the back two alongside McKenna or Worrell, he's looked good. So, you know, fair play to him. I'm happy that he managed to get his goal. Just a consolation goal, really. Poor from Forest, sloppy passes. Mighton was really good against Millwall. Today, tried some flicks, didn't really come off. Tried some passes, weren't coming off. Amiobi looked a shadow of the one who was playing against Middlesbrough. I keep getting them wrong. Who was playing against Millwall in the last game today. Yeah, looked poor. Taylor looked good off the bench. I think he was one of our better players. Lolly looked good off the bench as well, got the assist. But one man I've got to highlight who had a poor game for me, and I don't like to dig players out, really. I like to try and be positive, because who am I to dig out a football player? You know, I just sit here and watch them. I pay, you know, to watch them play, and you know, I'm not a player myself. I don't really like to dig players out, because you know, what's digging someone out going to do other than, you know, bring their confidence down? But the player for me today who was poor and was silly even at the end of the game to get himself sent off, and that was Yuri Boro. I love Yuri Boro. You know, he seems that kind of guy who loves to be at the club. He didn't want to leave, but, you know, he was forced to be dropped by Marinakis for a couple of matches at the start of the season because he didn't want to leave. He's a really passionate guy. I was really chuffed for him when he scored against Sheffield Wednesday, but today, very poor. Passing was poor. His link-up play was poor down the left-hand side. Positioning again wasn't the greatest, and then he was very hot-headed. I think he was angry maybe with himself that he was playing the way that things weren't going our way. A couple of times he got frustrated, he got in the face of Saville when he didn't put the ball out after Yates went down, and that Yates injury could be big for us, could be quite a problem, because also you've got Arthur injured, and I think Colback's still injured, so who we're going to play in that position against Swansea in the Cup, I don't know. I'll have a little bit to think about that and bring that to you in the next video. But maybe we could see Mbissery in the middle again. I'm not 100% sure, but in terms of Yuri Boro, he was very silly what he did, really. The ball was being shielded in the corner, if you haven't seen it. They were trying to stop, us getting a chance to make it 2-2. Middlesbrough, it was a Somolonga and somebody else was there. And Ribeiro just comes out of nowhere, and I'm not really 100% sure what he was given the red for. He went in, he came in and put his studs down on top of the ball, so it could have been done looking like he was stamping. It was either him or Cafu raised his hand, and Somolonga claimed that his face was touched. I don't know. Just a quick word on Somolonga. He's probably, in it well within his rights, because he's not like he's left the club, last season. But he did celebrate after that goal, and it leaves a bit of a sour taste. But silly from Ribeiro now, very very silly, and I don't think he would have started against Swansea anyway. But on performance from today, he doesn't deserve to, and obviously with his red card, very silly, very poor, very childish, and not good enough. Not good enough. If I had to pick a man of the match for Forest, Lyle Taylor maybe. You could tell with Taylor he was trying, he was getting frustrated because of the way that he plays and the way that the referee officiated. Middlesbrough players knew if they just fell to the floor whenever he sort of touched them, they would get a free kick, and he tried, he showed that he was passionate about the game, and I think, you've got to give him credit. I think he was probably one of our best players out there, off the bench, and solid performance for Middlesbrough, you've got to say. We always struggle against Neil Warnock's sides, and, they did what they needed to do, got an early goal, and then they didn't really have much to do after that. They sort of allowed play to slow down to their pace. Every moment they got, they time wasted. I mean, it wasn't long after they scored, I think we sent one forward, and their defender could have just got the ball, carried things on, passed it on, but decided to let the ball run out for a goal kick like there was about 5 minutes to go, and it was 1-0 to them, not 75 minutes or whatever. But we need to really go back to the training ground. We need to be able to bounce back from this one. We need a really big performance against Swansea in the Cup, not just because I like to go on a cup run, because we need to get morale back. We need to get a win as soon as we can. We don't want this to be a spiral downwards like we've seen before in the season. We had a good little run where we beat Coventry and Wickham, and then we couldn't score couldn't hit a barn over a banjo, really. So we need to go back to the training ground and really work on what went wrong, and analyse the game and move on. But disappointing one for Forest. Our unbeaten run stops at 7. Difficult one to take, and one that I'm not very happy with, but it was going to come to an end one of these days. So a big couple of games coming up. We're being drawn back into the relegation mix. Rotherham have a couple of games in hand, I think 3 games in hand now, so they could really hurl themselves out of danger above us, which would not be very good at all. And that's just what one loss can do for you. 7 games undefeated, and 1 loss, and we're back within the relegation mix. So we need to really work hard for these next up and coming games, and really try and move forward. So if you did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to Talk Forest TV, TFTV Extra, and Dan TFTV, and please come on, you Reds.